Good Thursday morning, and welcome to Ice Age TV, the internal combustion engine age YouTube channel that the select few decide to tune in and watch my morning conversations, and I appreciate that. Good morning for all my subscribers that watch me on a regular basis. I appreciate that. And oh my goodness, what are we talking about today? But you know what? It's cool, but it's beautiful up here. And I just think to myself, wow. To me, as you get older in life, it just seems like time just passes so quickly. And come on, pups, let's go. Come on, let's go. Come on. And it's just hard to believe that spring is on our doorstep, and which a lot of people dread, spring forward. Yeah, wow. Does that confuse you? I mean, who here doesn't get confused on the spring forward and the spring back? Come on, pups. Come on. Meaning that you don't know what time it is, right? And this us humans, do we get confused? Yeah, what are we talking about today? I thought we'd talk about confusion. Confused. Fusion or confusion, right? Fusion as in energy. Come on, pups. Let's go. Come on. Come on. The super fusion to make batteries better or something. Yeah, there's a good look, right? Oh, the water's dripping here in the room. Here's the Ford electric truck that didn't burn up last night. The birdies are pooping on the truck. Isn't that nice? That's from my hard work. The truck charged or did it. It's a light blue. It's blue. Yeah, confusion. That's what I thought I'd talk about today. Very challenging, though, for me to come to. That was very challenging for me to kind of figure out what to talk about today, because there's just so much. I mean, there's so much information out there. I mean, anybody watch my channel, I get it. You can watch TV all day long and hear the same crap all day long. I mean, sincerely, I get all that. So, I mean, yeah. I got paperwork here I gotta get. But yeah, look at the, am I confused? Probably. So there's a truck, Lightning truck. Great truck, it really is. It's just really interesting how I bought a Lightning truck. I waited for like a year or more to get one, and then I got sold out by the money, and I got rid of it right away. I mean, and even after I got rid of my first blue one, I even thought, man, why did I do that? I kind of had regrets of doing that. I really get any time. I've really spent a lot of time with that truck, and yeah. So yeah, did the money confuse me on that decision? Yeah, to the degree it did. The money, what the money can do to you. Check confuse you. Truck's looking good. Got the windows tinted yesterday, and did the front stripe on it, which I really like that. It's incredible how LA Tint, for all these years of all my cars I have, they never would push the stripe across the windshield. And I just really like that. It really makes the interior, I didn't go too radical, but it just makes the interior so much cooler. And it's just tough of you, which a black vehicle gives you a lot of heat. Yeah, so anyways, yeah, so sincerely, for me, I'm just like, there's just so many things to talk about. What do you talk about? I get thinking, I don't know, let's talk about confusion. Because we just live in times where we get so much information, it becomes confusing. And even myself, I lose track of all the information on this electric technology of kilowatt and gigawatt and CS plug to the CSA or whatever. I mean, it's just, but that's why I want to get an electric vehicle. Was just for that reason. Because I want to get in tune to what the confusion is. Get that going, get my light on. That's really weird. And get my thing on there, yeah, I can't even, my Apple, that's interesting. I've had a hell of a time getting my Apple computer, MacBook to charge, and I made an appointment this morning with Apple, which anybody knows these Apple products anymore. Talking about confusing, trying to get your technology worked on, what you got to go through to get that done. But anyways, another part of me was, I was thinking maybe make the conversation dogs this morning. My daughter, it was like, no, you've already had that conversation. And I was like, yeah, you're right. Yeah, because sadly, my brother had to put his dog down. If you've been following me, what's really weird is I've been talking about drugs this past week, and it's just incredible on how my dog, we kind of had a feeling this would probably play out in the end, but we tried to be patient and try to make the dog, we did everything we could to save the dog, But if you're following my channel, this past, I guess, December or early January, I guess it was early January, my brother's neighbor, who was just a total piece of crap. This is a person where you wonder, why aren't these the people that, just they don't wake up one day? Why can't these be the people that don't wake up one day? You hear these terrible stories of a beautiful woman with beautiful kids that they get caught up in the social, environment, and they buy what they think is, a drug they can take, and they're gonna be okay, and they're dead. And then you got a guy next door that's the worst person in the world. That's just, So my brother had to put down his dog because the dog was just going to major seizures. My brother just couldn't take it anymore. So last night he sadly texted me that he had to put the dog down. And I bought that dog for my brother, a chocolate lab with like the block face, which those aren't common, in December of 2019. My daughter and I and my dad and brother went over to like Bradenton, Florida, and I found it the last second. I literally found that dog like right on Christmas Eve, and I went over and bought the dog for my brother. My brother doesn't make any money. He doesn't have any answer. People don't understand. I support my family financially a lot of ways. People just don't understand this about me. And I'm just like, yeah. I mean, I help others more than some may realize. And so anyway, then I paid my brother's medical bill for the dog that just about died the day that we had him at the emergency hospital. That ain't cheap. And so anyway, just a sad story because but just a total screw up in life that ruined my brother's, happiness of life of having a dog. And the person's gone. I mean, that person's gone. They were evicted from the house. The house was sold. That person's living in somebody's basement right now, all doped up, and all they're doing is waking up this morning to find their next, hit to keep them going. And you're just like, why can't these people just not wake up? I mean, sincerely, not sound mean, but these are just a menace to society. They're just confused individuals that think that they, revenge. So the whole point is, he threw drugs into my brother's backyard to kill my brother's dog. There's an ongoing battle between my brother and him because the guy was a drug meth house and he did bad things to my brother's house. And it was just the hate of the hate. And so it's just not good. So, but anyways, yeah, so the confusion, right? So I was thinking to myself, confusing times. I mean, are we just living in those confusing times? If you're watching, and here's the thing, we'll try to keep it to the car theme, and then then go to the state of the times theme. And I know some people just don't want to hear this stuff, but at the same time, it's like we're just being so abused. I think the conservatives and the liberal person be like, "Oh, you're full of baloney. You guys are just as bad as we are." I'd be like, well, yeah, I guess you can say that, but at the same time, the liberal movement's made far more advances than the conservative movement. So, I mean, so in all fairness, the liberal movement, the socialist regime movement, is moving at a better pace than the conservative movement. And, yeah, you could debate that all day long as well. But if you look at the car industry, you talk about, I thought to myself that, here's my throat, I'm drinking my coffee to kind of get woken up and getting going this morning, and then it starts irritating me. Or, but you know, I was talking about the dogs. It's really weird. So the key guy that worked for me, Joe, he left last Friday morning. And what's really weird and really interesting today, if you've been watching my videos, it just popped, it was like a brick hit me in the side of the head. Watching my videos, the dogs don't go barking anymore. Because so when Joe used to come in, they used to be expecting him to show up. And it's like they know. I mean, that's why, we'll see. The dogs just start barking a lot. But my dogs don't seem, it seems like the dogs know. I mean, it just seems to me like the dogs know that he's gone and he's not coming back. Isn't that weird? And that's really weird is I have right now 15-year-old keyed entry door locks. This is so weird. And any times you lose a key person in your life, we don't know. I mean, these individuals are just like, what plays out with that, long term. I mean, there's no hate. But what's so weird is one of the key rooms that's access to the business, the whole unit doesn't work right anymore. So I had to go out and buy a whole new unit and put a whole new technology in to secure the this door. But it's like, what's that all about? It's like the energy thing, you know. I mean, I don't know, man. It's just weird. It's just the energy. It's all about the energy. Anybody believe? I so believe in that. The energy that's around you and what's going on. It's just So, anyways, so yeah, so I just think we're just living such confusing times because you and I could argue all day long what you think's right, what I think's right, which version you think's wrong, I think's wrong. We can do that. I mean, I get little tidbits every now and then of somebody rarely kind of making comments on my channel. Not much. I'm just not that big, and I don't hashtag it to get a lot of exposure, if you know what I mean, for the clickbait. I don't do that. I mean, I don't even label a lot of my channels, whatever. And so I just think about the diesel cheat, When I just think about how I think to myself back in Germany when the Germans were building these Volkswagens that were designed to fool the emissions test compliance on them, where the computer was reconfigured during emissions tests. It was not showing the real pollution it was promoting. So people were out buying these Volkswagen Golfs and TDI motors and all, and you loved them. I mean, I had those vehicles back in the late 90s, early 2000. Those things got like 42 to 44 miles per gallon. They were great cars to work out of, and for my business, I had like two of them. And I think to myself, it's just so confusing on how the CEO and the big guys in VW truly thought they could get away with this. I mean, you just think to yourself, so you have like a whole team of people that work around you. And in so many ways, all of them know they're colluding together to do devious things to cheat the system. And as you say, but you think to yourself, do you really think that if you have 50 people in a room and you tell them a secret, that the secret's not going to get out? And so it's just, to me, it's like, are you just like confused? Are you guys, can you grasp where this is going? And we all know that for Volkswagen, they get hammered. The CEO went to prison. And part of the settlement is part of what's going on in our country right now. They've had to allocate monies to put in charging stations. Yeah, we realize or not, part of that Dieselgate settlement is involved in the electric vehicle charging station infrastructure. Yeah, it's like Electrify America and Volkswagen are partnered up, I think. I could be wrong on that, but that's a fact, what I just told you. So confusing. So think this through. If you're the CEO of Volkswagen, this is where I get confused and trying to figure out how people process information. So you go 10 plus years ago, the CEO is all about wanting to keep the Volkswagen diesel engine being built, and I get all that. You got unions, you got manufacturing, you got a lot of commitments to supplies. You got to keep the thing going. I get all that, but at the same time, it's such a slap in the face. Here's a guy that's designing the most pollutant automotive cars, not trucks, cars that are polluting the hell out of the environment. But at the end of the day, the guy's gone to prison, and now the company's now promoting the cleanest cars of the environment. Yeah, right. I know that too as well. I mean, it's just like it makes no sense of what was accomplished out of that, and they paid billions of dollars in fines. Talk about and that's what I think to myself today is. What I think to myself today is, are these major automotive manufacturers confused? I mean, I really think to myself how they're just totally going one direction. I mean, they really are. I mean, all these major automotive manufacturers are just really have a plan. In the next 5 years, you just read it over and over again in these articles about how so many manufacturers are going to go totally to electric vehicle only. And I just think, are they confused? Are they confused? Why? And yes, I understand why, and you understand why as well, because the governing bodies of this country are hammering the heck out of these automotive manufacturer guys that have to abide by the new policies and guidelines, or you're going to be run out of town with or have run-up penalties like crazy. So I got my heat over here, which is just a little too hot here. I'm going to go turn that on. So kind of get my office pretty cold in the morning. So anyways, So I think that more than ever, we live in confusing times, and more so the leaders of our country, the leaders of business. They just seem like it just seems that if you kind of step back, you just think it just doesn't make sense of what you're supporting or what you're doing. Just like the lawless cities. I mean, I talked about this yesterday, and how D.C. is trying to pass a bill where they raise the limit of all the crimes that these terrible people do can get away with even more. I mean, you think, are you just confused? I mean, if you just raise the limit to, I mean, it's just like in the car industry. Just say that you find out in the state that you live, there's no more speeding tickets. There's no more speeding tickets. I mean, really, I mean, think about this. What do you think would happen? As an individual that drives down the roads every day, do you honestly believe that people wouldn't abuse the heck out of that? Oh my gosh. It would be crazy that if you were told you can just drive as fast as you want, do whatever you want. How would that play out? And so, but that's what we're dealing with more than ever, I think, in our society, is we have this social justice, this social movement, this be accepted to be who you are because you agree with somebody's radical ideas. And it just seems like more than ever, the leaders of our country and business and governments are just catering to the select few, the minority. And that's what I keep on talking about. Why has the electric Ford Mustang Mach-E kind of just lost its momentum that a year ago dealers were getting 10, 15, 20 grand over for the car, be so lucky to get one, and now they're sitting on dealers' lots and they're not moving. The Ford F-150 truck. I mean, what is going on? I mean, so you have to say to yourself, it's confusion above that are making these cars that aren't, really connecting the dots to figure out it isn't really what the consumers really want at this point. And yeah, I don't disagree that as time progresses, sure, the infrastructure is built out more. Yeah, it's going to become more the favorite vehicle at some point, maybe. But at the same time, I'm not so sure people just really even want the electric vehicle. So it's confusing. It's literally like there's a niche of people that want these things, but there doesn't seem to be the majority. It seems to be the minority. So, but they're running the agenda. And I know people will comment on my channel, oh, well, the minorities always dictate the majority. All right, well, that's concerning because I have people comment when I post information on my F-150 truck. It's like, that thing's a piece of junk and it's going to burn down. And it's that thing's more contaminated, more Mother Earth. And it's like, I know. But why can't more of you show up to protest all this stuff? So here's the thing. I've said it a gazillion times. That's why I talked about that guy Vivek, that guy who wanted to run for president, even though some people think he's a snake in sheep's clothes or however you phrase that he isn't who he really is. But he's the only guy I've read about that's created a foundation to fight all this craziness that's going on in the country, in this world of agendas. He's the only one I've read about that has a foundation collecting money to go fight all this confusion. And that's what I say is, okay, so there's so many of us here, including myself, you think it just isn't right of where the automotive industry is going at such a rapid pace. But who's protesting it? I mean, sincerely, have you seen the Ice Age people protesting in front of Volkswagen's headquarters, in front of Stellantis headquarters, in front of Ford's headquarters? I mean, has anybody seen this stuff? I mean, I haven't seen that. I've seen the whack jobs over in France and Europe that are throwing oil on, paintings, and people are dumping oil in the middle of on streets so cars crash. I mean, it's just confusion, right? I mean, oh my gosh. And so, but at the same time, I think to myself, are we living in the most confused times of the media machine? I mean, if you just watched this January 6th, I mean, it's beyond believable. If you watch the January 6th released video, we just got here from Tucker Carlson or whatever. If you see it,
and I've only seen bits and pieces just on Twitter. If I go into Twitter, you see all types of stuff you don't want to see, really. But anyways, you see like the peaceful movement through the Capitol of all these, radical people showing up to kill Congress and senators or whatever in the Capitol. But you watch a video as the police are borderline escorting. It's like it's literally like they've been entertained to come in. And they have like a line of how they're walking through the Capitol. Pretty, for the most part, looks peaceful. And so you just think, but yet the videos that you saw prior to them getting into the Capitol, you have all these videos of people being violent and mean and everything else. And you just think to yourself, it's confusing because on the one aspect, you look at the January 6th event and you have so many people that those people are disgusting and they should all be persecuted and terminated. But then you see these other videos and you see how they all got confused. No doubt, these people were confused. They truly felt like, I guess, in so many aspects, that the Capitol Police and everybody just kind of like, just go ahead, go on in, whatever. I mean, I don't know. I wasn't there, but at the same time, it's confusing because on one aspect of this, you can call these people out for being idiots to do what they did, but in the other aspect, you can say they were just misled and confused. And nobody really, per se, did anything radical. It's just that one girl, Ashley Bobbitt, that got shot and killed, and that guy shot her. I mean, whatever. I don't know. So that's confusing. And then you step back and you look at the COVID thing. So now the COVID thing is coming up, which if everybody's watching that, I mean, is that confusing? I mean, it's like the day one. I think the average person isn't confused in life. Kind of came to closure that the Wuhan lab had an accident and this virus got out. Somebody by accident let it out. Did somebody intentionally let it out? Who knows? I have no idea. But at the same time, but you hear how Fauci doesn't want this to get too far into this, I guess. I mean, because it sounds like Fauci was part of the plan. And then our own governing bodies gave money to the Wuhan lab. I mean, it's so confusing to try to come to grasp what you think you know and what you don't know, and to come to closure. And I'm sure most people are like, I just don't want to talk about it anymore. And I get that, and I'm with you. But at the same time, it did such havoc to so many people's lives. But that's the problem. People are just like, nah, I don't want to talk about it anymore. And just like the electric vehicles, people just cave. Like, I just don't want to talk about it. Whatever. Who cares? Who cares? Electric vehicle. Who cares? What difference does it make? I mean, that's just because somebody's continuing to force it. So I just think right now, when you watch the news, if you do, and which I really don't, how can you just sit around and watch the news? I don't know, but I mean, I get it if you have nothing to do, but I got plenty to do. But here's the thing. So you think about the city administration, and you just have to shake your head because of what was said and what's being done is like totally opposite. I mean, does anybody remember and how the so-called new administration was going to calm things down and things were going to be better and how you wouldn't be forced to have a vaccine? But then once the new administration came in, you were going to be forced to have a vaccine and how so many people lost their jobs. You can get the vaccine. And now they're showing that the vaccine doesn't really stop. Well, it doesn't stop the spread of the virus. It's debatable. I guess, it's an argument. One person argued all day long they had all the vaccines and they never got sick, or they got sick or didn't get it sick. Another person will argue I never got the vaccines and I got sick when I lived. And it'll go, it's infinite. It's confusing. Who's right, who's wrong? But the media machine just feeds this stuff 24/7, and you just borderline have to think that they see how they can confuse everybody that you just forget about everything. I mean, sincerely, I think it's so confusing. I think most people just forget of half the things that they were even challenged to try to figure out. Look at Lamar Jackson. You hear Aaron Rodgers. So right now, Carr from the Raiders went to, what did he go to, New Orleans, I think? I'm trying to think. That's how it went. It's the football. It's the football jargon. Lamar Jackson, if you're a football person, may not be. I know it's kind of off the topic, but Lamar Jackson's the Baltimore Ravens. It's close by, and he's holding out for the big deal. And Aaron Rodgers, he may be going to the Jets, which makes no sense. Brett Favre from the Green Bay Packers went to the Jets. Then he had a sexual harassment claim against him. I wonder if Aaron Rodgers is up for that. Aaron Rodgers going to New York. So Green Bay, yeah, it's just all football talk. Yeah, whatever. It's just all the Thursday morning conversations, the confusion's everywhere. And so I think to myself, what is the future of us, ICE people? What are we going to be looking for? I mean, sincerely, what are we looking for? Are we going to be confused more than ever because you're going to be borderline forced to get an electric vehicle? Oh my gosh, right? Oh, is that just heart-wrenching? Is it? I don't know. I think some people it is. I think some people, I've had conversations where we're like, I'll never buy one of those things. And I have them. Yeah, I got the Ford F-150 Lightning. And I got the Mach-E. Yeah, right. Now, if those things could have good money for them, and I could sell them and get something else, yeah, I would. I would. I've had my fun with them. I've learned about them, and I understand what they are and all that other stuff. So, yeah, that was the goal. I really sincerely thought a year ago I could get those and keep them for a while, have my fun with them, and then they'd have their value. Their value would be pretty substantial, and I could move on. But yeah, how wrong am I? How confused am I about that? Yeah, am I confused? Yeah, and then the black truck I bought for a guy that worked for me that I thought would be his, and blah blah blah, and yeah, am I confused about that? Yeah, I'm confused. Yeah, but who raises their hand and says, yeah, I'm confused? Yeah, right. Yeah, I think that we're living in confusing times, and especially it goes to the education system. What is going on there where they're lowering the standards? Apparently in Fairfax County, the Asians and the whites have been eliminated from taking certain tests. So it's like, so the scholastic scores, I guess, end up being a different level. What an insult. If I'm a black person right now, I'm so insulted where we are in today's society. You're telling me the educational system's lowering their standards to appease the black community? Is that the message? Is that the message? You're saying that the black people can't compete with the white and the Asian people? What's the underlying? Talk about confusion. I can totally understand if I'm a young black person right now. I would be very confused. I would be like, I just don't understand what's going on here. I'm living in 2023. This is not 1619. This is not 1700. This is not the 1950s, 1960s. Or maybe I'm smoking dope and I'm just an idiot, and the black community, unbeknownst to me, is being, oppressed, suppressed, whatever. I don't know. The people that I know that are black are incredibly successful and are just great people. I just don't get it. I don't. I'm confused. Really, what is going on? There's on Twitter, and this is where is this fair to the black community to show a black guy on Twitter that's mouthing off? He's gotten 7 women pregnant, and it's not his problem; it's their problem. Yes, there's a whole Twitter thing where they're showing, but it's TikTok. So a guy's on TikTok, but Twitter showed it, where this black guy that's probably like 30 years old. And he's just mouthing off on how it ain't his problem that he impregnated 7 women. That ain't his problem. It's the woman. He's like, these women are stupid. Why didn't I have an abortion? I ain't pulling out. So I told him to get rid of that baby. You just listen to something, talk about a confused individual. And that thing's probably got more, that TikTok hit probably got more hits than my whole YouTube channel will get for the whole time I'm doing videos, right? Wow. Do I need to make confusing statements? Yeah, maybe I need to do that. Is that how I get? And yeah, speaking of that, I think to myself, oh my gosh, how many YouTubers out there? It's to continue doom and gloom, doom and gloom, doom and gloom, right? Well, wait a second. Is that your channel? Yeah, right. I know. I get it. Hey, let's just talk about the state of the times. Can it sound like a doom and gloom? Yeah. Well, if you see what's going on around us, I think we lived in a very confused society, and to add to that, they're now legalizing, the drugs to even, make it even bigger, even more confusing. I mean, people stoned off their ass walking around all day long. How does that play out, right? The pothead society. It's just so incredible how I was growing up. How that's how we had friends. I had friends. We hung out, the high school thing, and you had the potheads, and you just knew who they were. They just knew it was just the running joke among us of how we kind of had our fun and but I get it. Either you're smoking pot or you're drinking beer or whiskey. I get all that. I mean, I know. I mean, I'm not here to call out anybody and their whatever they got going in their life, but at the same time, there's a fine line there of the balance, the moderation, right? The moderation, just like me. Should I be moderated? Yeah, all right. Well, anyways, hey, it's another conversation morning and just sharing ideas and thoughts. But I think to myself too, what is like the next, like for me, right now, what's like the next thing that I would want as a vehicle? And it's just, I've had so many cars, and really, I tell you, it's the Jeep Wagoneer, the Jeep Grand Wagoneer. I think that'd be really nice to have, but at this point, it's not like I have 3, 4 kids. I got 4 dogs. Oh, have you noticed the dogs haven't barked? Isn't this crazy? So the dogs know. The dogs know. Isn't that crazy? The dogs know that Joe's not coming back. The guy worked for me for 12 and a half years. Wow. Isn't that something? The dogs, I mean, to me, it's very sad because in one aspect, dogs are so smart. They really are. And I've had dogs my whole life. I've always had dogs in my life. I only didn't have a dog in my life for a little time when I get my career going. And so I had about a 5-year, I had about a 6-year pause of I didn't have a dog because I was just too busy. I just worked 7 days a week and I was never home. I was just too busy, so I couldn't have one. But from my being very, young, and then from after 1991 and on, I've had dogs. And I had up to 8 dogs at one time. Yeah. Now I've got 4. And the only reason I've got 4 is because they die off. Sadly, they move on, and I just think to myself, the dogs are so smart and they know so much, but they don't know what to eat, not to eat. I mean, like the drugs, like my brother's dog, he ate, we don't know what he ate, but he ate some drug that created seizures for him. And, which that was his end, was my brother had to put him down because he just started having seizure after seizure on a consistent basis on a daily, and the dog just became loopy, lost, weird, so just a sad story for my brother. And does my brother get another dog? I don't know. There's nothing, I'm out in Florida to do things, so, oh well, it's a timeout. Is what it is. But anyways, just so the dog's confused. Dogs, if you think about it, just incredible. All right, everybody. Hey, appreciate everybody watching my channel. And just stay tuned for more adventures and things. And like I say, what's the next vehicle or purchase? I don't know. There's my brain's just too much going on at this point in my life. So challenges that everybody has. Everybody has challenges. Anybody here watching my channel, some people say I talk down to people on my channel, and I'm like, okay, I don't intentionally mean to talk down. I'm no better than you. You're better than me. I guarantee there's a lot of people out there better than me. I get all that. For me, yeah, if I was that smart, I wouldn't have all these cars sitting around here. If I was that smart, I wouldn't even probably even have a YouTube channel. For what? This doesn't make me any money. I just end up sharing a lot of information, a lot of people that I can have a free-for-all at my expense. But anyways, thanks for watching my channel. Appreciate support. Hey, tell some people to subscribe. This is a lot of work, a lot of time. And, some days I just think, is it really worth it? But anyways, appreciate your support. God bless. Stay safe.